Okay, today in class we did the 624 classwork, which is taking the 5D process that we're familiar with and solving an equation which we're familiar with and putting the two together. So we're going to use the 5D process to set up the following problems. It said we're not going to do the trials in the video because I'll just show you how to set up the problems and write equations for it. So it says the Great Lakes contain the largest amount of fresh water on the surface of the planet. Combined, the 5 lakes, Superior, Michigan, Huron, Erie, and Ontario, contain 84% of North America's and 21% of the world's surface fresh water. The amount of water in Lake Superior is 1,720 cubic miles more than the amount of water in Lake Michigan. So we're going to say Lake Superior, so this is going to go into our describe. And then it goes on to say Lake Huron has 330 cubic miles water less than Lake Michigan. That's going to go into our describe. Then it tells us that the total amount is 4,930 cubic miles. And the question is how much water is in each lake? Okay, so then we have to set up our 5D table. So instead of setting up the whole where we do the trials, which we could do a couple trials, and we did do that in class today to kind of show the idea that these types of problems are complicated and we don't want to have to set up trials to do all the different things. So it tells us about Lake Superior and it depends on Lake Michigan. Lake Huron also depended on Lake Michigan. So Lake Michigan is going to be what I call the first column in my table. Then I'm going to do Lake Superior and then Huron. And the reason I do Michigan first is because the other two rely on it. In the do column, I'm going to add the lakes. And in the decide, I'm trying to get 4,970, I believe. 930. Okay, so instead of doing trials where I pick a number for Michigan and use it to find Superior, I'm going to write variables. So I'm going to start with Lake Michigan being X. So then I go back to my describe and I say Lake Superior is 1,720 more than Lake Michigan. So more than means to add. So I'm going to get X plus 1,720. And then Lake Huron, it says, is 330 cubic miles less than, which means to subtract. So we're going to do X minus 330. So then we're going to add, and we're going to add those together. So I'm going to get X plus 1,720 plus X minus 330. And that needs to all equal 4,930. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, like I said, we could pick trials. I could say, okay, 1,000 for Michigan, 2,720 for Superior, 670 for Huron, and then add them all together and do trials. Instead, I'm going to use my solving equation skills. So I know that I can add all of these x's together. So x plus x plus x is going to give me 3x plus 1,720 plus negative 330 or minus 330 gives me 1,390. And that equals 4,930. Okay, so now I solve my equation. So I subtract 1,390 from both sides. I get 3x equals 5,000 4,930 minus 1,390 gives me 3,540. Then I divide both sides by 3. Gives me x equals 1,180. So x equals not 1,000, not 2,000, not 2,500. So I would have to do like probably 5 to 10 trials to figure out what x actually ended up equaling. So now I'm just going to fill in a row so I figure out Michigan. So if Michigan is 1,180, Lake Superior, I do 1,180 plus 1,720, which equals 2,900. And to find Lake Huron, I do 1,180 minus 330, which gives me 850. So now I can write my final declare. So Michigan is 1,180 cubic miles. Superior is 2,900 cubic miles. And Huron is 850 cubic miles. All right, so let's do a couple more like this. So this first problem says, as you saw in problem 693, which we didn't go through the trial part, but sometimes organizing your thinking using a 5D process to solve a word problem involves a lot of work. Sometimes the tables are very complicated or the numbers require many trials to find the answer. How can you use your new equation solving skills to help you solve word problems? Read the following word problems and then answer the questions below. So it says, while looking at the country of Jamaica's results from the 2008 Beijing Olympics, Gemma noticed that the number of gold medals Jamaica received was twice the number of silver medals. She also realized that Jamaica received 1 fewer bronze medal than silver medals. Altogether, Jamaica received 11 medals. So she set up this table. So the first question says, what did she define x to be? So we find x and we look up here and it turns out x is silver. So that's what x represents. So then it goes on to ask us in the next one, what is gold? So gold was 2x and bronze is x minus 1. And we just take it straight from the table. So then to write an equation, I take my 3 columns and I combine them together. So I know I had 2x for gold plus x for silver plus x minus 1 for bronze, and that equals 11. So then in part D, it says solve my equation. So I combine like terms. So I get 2x, which is 4x minus 1 equals 11. I'm going to add 1 to both sides. So I get 4x equals 12. And then I divide both sides by 4 to get x equals 3. And it says, what does that represent? It's silver medals. So then part E says, how many gold medals do Jamaica earn? Explain how you know. So gold is 2x. If x is 3, the answer would be 6 because 2 times 3 equals 6. Okay, we could have also figured out bronze. Bronze would be 2 because 3 minus 1 is 2. Okay, so this next problem says, a person's height is positively associated with his or her arm span, the distance between the ends of the fingertips as arms are held out at either side of the body. One of the tallest men in history had an arm span measuring 7 inches more than his height. The combined total of his arm span and height was 221 inches. How tall was this man? All right, so the first piece of information that's important that it gives me is it tells me the arm span is 7 inches more than the height. So height and arm span are my 2 variables, and height has to come first because arm span relies on it. And then in the do, I do the height plus the arm span. And in the decide, I'm going to decide I want to get 221. So my height's going to be x. It says the arm span is 7 inches more, so it's x plus 7. And then my equation is going to be x plus 7 equals 221. So then to solve that, I combine like terms. X plus x is 2x. So I'm going to get 2x plus 7 equals 221. Subtract 7 from both sides. I get 2x equals 214. Divide both sides by 2, and I'm going to get x equals 107. So that tells me that this man, 107 inches tall, which is about almost 9 feet, a little less than 9 feet. Okay, so this one I know from earlier, we have to add another column. Okay, have you ever tried to hold your breath? Humans can only hold their breath at an average of 1 minute. However, other animals can hold their breath for much longer. A Greenland whale can hold its breath 3 times as long as a beaver, and a hippopotamus can hold its breath 5 minutes less than a beaver. If you added the time a Greenland whale, beaver, and hippopotamus can hold their breath, you would get 95 minutes. How long can a beaver hold its breath? So all of them rely on beaver, because if you see at the end, a whale holds its breath 3 times as long as a beaver. Hippopotamus, 5 less than a beaver. So in my table, the beaver needs to come first. Then let's do the whale and then the hippo. Doesn't really matter about the whale and the hippo. So then my decide or my final number is 95, which goes here. To get 95, I add beaver, I'm just abbreviating, plus the whale, plus the hippo. All right, if I make the beaver X, it tells me the whale is 3 times as long as the beaver. So that means it's 3X. And I could write X times 3 there, but then I get like confused when I go to write my equation. And then the hippo is 5 less than. So it's 5X minus 5. So then over here, I'm going to add X plus 3X plus X minus 5, and that equals 95. So then when I show my work, I combine my like terms. X plus 3X plus X is 5X minus 5 equals 95. So then I add 5 to both sides. I get 5X equals 100 and divide by 5. And then the question doesn't ask for all of the animals, it just asks for the beaver. So how long can a beaver hold its breath? So a beaver can hold its breath for 20 minutes. I realized I never finished that because X equals 20.